Hey YouTube, what's up? My name is Andrew McGrath. I'm a 29-year-old web designer from Rochester in Kent. And I wanted to introduce myself and create this YouTube video and start creating videos moving forwards because I feel like I have a lot of value to offer to people. I get a lot of junior designers that come to me and ask me a lot of questions about web design and, the basics of UX principles and what they should be doing and shouldn't be doing and how to find clients and all sorts of stuff. And generally asking me to review their work and their portfolios and stuff. So I thought creating videos would be a really good way to just help people out and to, share some value with people. So I thought for my very first video, I would create this short one about myself and just kind of introduce myself and explain how and why I got to the position I'm in at the moment. So basically, I started off my journey in this kind of creative field when I was about 12, 13. I was doing videos and tutorials through YouTube and like other content providers to be able to just mess around and create things that look really cool. Like I was taking very basic photography and trying to make it look really cool with like lightning and electricity and stuff like that, which you really want to be doing as a young creative person. Never really used it much since, but I didn't realize at the time it was teaching me very important lessons about how to use like masking and layering and different blend modes inside Photoshop. Balancing color, stuff like that. These are all things that I use all the time now, but at the time I didn't realize how important these were. So moving forwards from that, kind of at 16, I left school and wanted to follow something creative, and I figured graphic design was kind of my calling. So I went to college to study graphic design, and they were having us, like I came in one day and there was like blenders all over the table and we were making fruit smoothies, and another day there was like A3 white card and we had to stick tiny little black squares on it to represent anger. I just thought it was a crock of shit at the time, and I just thought it was a big waste of time. I wanted to be doing creative stuff and I didn't feel like it was getting anywhere near that. We weren't even discussing anything to do with design or, I stuck it out for all of about 5 weeks, I think. So I probably should have had a bit more patience at the time and kind of stuck to it and let it unfold a little bit. But hindsight is a great thing, isn't it? But at the time I didn't see that it was adding any value to my life. So, I sacked it off as a very impatient person. I then kind of fell into hairdressing. So I ended up being a hairdresser and a barber for 8 years. I had a great time, traveled the world a lot, met a lot of really cool people, and it was really good. But I've kind of eventually had to come back full circle to what I originally wanted to do with my life, which was something creative, creating beautiful content for people. And it's very fulfilling to be able to, work with clients on a freelance basis and have that kind of working relationship. And I really enjoy the kind of business side of it, but it also allows me to fulfill, my creative streaks and, discuss other things with clients. And as long as they're kind of open to that and they can think outside the box a little bit, I can, create something really beautiful from that. And I really enjoy that. So after that, I came back to doing web design. I figured that was the next best thing that I should be doing, and I didn't really know that to start with. I knew that I wanted to do something creative, but I wasn't really sure which angle I should be going at this from, because there are all sorts of creative fields. I could have done videography, or I could have designed games, or I could have done like art viz or 3D rendering, or there's all sorts of stuff. So I did try a lot of stuff over the years. I messed about with 3D rendering for a while and learned how to do like ArcViz stuff. I also dabbled in some game design and started using Unreal Engine and teaching myself how to use that to be able to create game environments. There was a lot of different angles. I did some video editing stuff. I learned how to use LUTs and like Final Cut Pro, and I had to try different things, and sometimes in life you need to do that to figure out what you like and what you don't like. But eventually I settled on web design and realized that was what I liked and what really fulfilled me. So after that, I kind of started researching web design, and I understood that to be able to create great content for people and for your clients' businesses, you can't make a great website unless you understand how people work. And it was at the time I understood that it's all well and good being able to create a website that looks very pretty, but ultimately a website is a sales tool, and if you don't understand how people work and you can't guide them on a journey through that website and kind of push them into action, it's not very useful at all. A website should be very intuitive to use, and people should be able to kind of almost predict what comes next, and things should be laid out in certain ways, and there's a very clear structure to the way things should be done. And I understood that I didn't know that, I didn't get that, so I needed to be taught that. So I went on to do a diploma in UX design through the UX Design Institute, and that was really awesome. I learned a lot about the way people think and why they use certain apps and products in the way that they do, which is really important to be able to tell a story for your client's website ultimately. After that, I just started posting a lot of content to Behance and Dribble. I didn't really know what direction I was going in. I didn't know whether I should be building kind of mobile apps or whether I should just be focusing on kind of a desktop website experience. Again, I didn't know what angle I should be going at or what I enjoyed. So I just did a bit of everything. I did some mobile app stuff. I did some desktop stuff. Style wise, I wasn't really sure what I was going for. It was a bit of a mix of just everything, whatever I felt like at the time. I did some design challenges, stuff like that, because that's really good to allow you to think a little bit outside the box. But also, as a very junior designer, you don't understand in the real world what you're going to have to create for customers, you know, like forms, you know, data collection points. Like there's all sorts of stuff that you don't get. So doing design challenges gives you a design challenge every single day for about 30 days, and therefore you learn a lot, and you have to do it every day, and you have to come up with a design every day that's fit for purpose. So that's what I did. I taught myself that over time, and that was really helpful. And then I actually had someone reach out to me through Behance, and I went on from there to build an app for them, which was property related, and it was a very large project, but it taught me a lot, and through that I then got my first client. So as a junior designer, you don't really have much confidence. You're not sure of how much to charge people. There's all sorts of questions kind of surrounding whether you're doing it right, whether your product is suitable, if it could be made better, you know. You don't know if things are laid out in the right way. There's all sorts of questions that kind of surround it. So from that first client, I then went on to have other connections and referrals. I took some courses, and through those, there's a lot of communities, and I find a lot of my freelance clients through there. A lot of them are referrals of other clients through these communities. So it kind of grows outwards from there. But yeah, ultimately, I only have my UX design diploma. I took another course through a really cool company called Flux Academy, and that is to do with Webflow. I realized kind of quite early on in my design, kind of web design journey, that it's all well and good being able to create a really beautiful website for somebody inside Figma, but if you've only got the design to give them, they then have to still take that design and go away and find a developer to build it. So that's not ultimately very helpful. You should be providing kind of an end-to-end service for people. So if you design something, you should also be able to follow through and build it for them, because then you can go, you know, from nothing, from scratch, to actually giving them a fully working, beautiful, functional website. So I realized I needed to learn how to do that, and coding was not for me. I did try it several times over. You know, I could do basics of HTML, CSS, stuff like that, but I was not familiar or really wanted to get on board with being a developer full time. Did try it, but it takes a lot of patience, and you know, you can have sheets and sheets of code, and there can be one close bracket that's missing, and therefore the whole thing doesn't work. That to me just infuriates me. I don't have the patience for that. So that was not for me. But then I kind of came across kind of visual builders for creating websites, and the best one that I found at the time was Webflow. I did look at alternatives, but it seemed to be that Webflow, you know, was winning this race, as it still seems to be at this moment in time. And yeah, I took a really amazing course on that through Flux Academy. So that's kind of where I'm at today. So I use Figma to design these websites for my clients, and then I use Webflow to be able to build them out. So yeah, I will look forward to making more videos soon. I will try and keep them quite short, punchy, to the point, and just have them on individual short topics, and try and make them as educational as possible, because that is the whole purpose of this channel and creating videos for YouTube. So thank you very much. If you're interested in web design, please subscribe. There'll be loads of great content coming, and I will speak to you soon. Thanks, guys.